You don't feel behind because your life is actually empty. You feel behind because you keep measuring your private storms against someone else's public weather. You see their smile, their dinner table, their clean little vacation picture, their soft life moment, their glowing relationship post, and something inside you tightens. Not loudly, quietly, like a hand closing around your chest. And before you even realize it, your mind whispers, "Look, everyone figured it out except you." And honestly, that thought can feel so convincing, because when you're sitting alone with your own tiredness, your own doubts, your own unanswered prayers, other people's happiness starts looking like evidence against you. Their life becomes the courtroom, their smile becomes the witness, their success becomes the proof that something must be wrong with yours. You don't just think they're happy, you start believing life gave them something it forgot to give you. But here's where the illusion begins. You're not actually seeing their life. You're seeing a polished window, a few seconds of light, a carefully chosen angle, and then your mind takes that tiny fragment and builds a whole fantasy around it. It fills in the silence. It invents the peace. It imagines they sleep better, love easier, wake up lighter, never question themselves, never feel lost at 2 a.m. And the painful part is not even the image itself. The painful part is what you do with it. You turn it into a story about you. Somewhere deep inside the human mind, there's a very old belief. Most people never say it out loud, but they live from it every day. The belief is simple. Life is supposed to make me happy, and if I'm not happy, life is failing me. So when things don't go the way you hoped, when the message doesn't come, when the money feels tight, when your body feels heavy, when your plans fall apart, something in you doesn't just feel pain. It feels betrayed. You start asking, why me? Not always dramatically. Sometimes it's subtle. You're washing a cup, walking home, scrolling in bed, watching someone else get the thing you begged the universe for, and there it is again, that small ache underneath everything. Why is life withholding this from me? Why do they get to be loved like that? Why does everything seem easier for them? Why does happiness look like it keeps passing your door and knocking somewhere else? But life was never designed to be a vending machine where you put in enough effort, enough goodness, enough waiting, and eventually happiness drops out perfectly wrapped. That's the misunderstanding. Life is not withholding happiness from you like some cruel parent hiding candy on a high shelf. Life is doing something stranger, deeper, and at first, much more uncomfortable. Life is trying to wake you up. And waking up rarely feels like getting everything you want. Most of the time, it feels like losing the fantasy that what you wanted was going to save you. The mind loves to believe, once this changes, then I'll be okay. Once you get the relationship, once your body looks different, once you have more money, once people finally respect you, once your life looks more like their life. But every time happiness depends on an outside condition, you place your peace in a room you don't have the key to. Maybe that's why comparison hurts so much. It's not just jealousy. It's not just insecurity. It's the pain of worshipping an image and then feeling rejected by it. You see someone else holding the thing you think will complete you, and for a moment, you forget your own soul. You leave your center. You abandon the quiet place inside you and run toward the screen like it has the final answer. But the screen never answers. It only keeps showing you more faces, more lifestyles, more proof that the world is moving while you are somehow still waiting. Pain has a strange way of making you think you're failing. When you're struggling, you assume struggle means something has gone wrong. You think peace would mean everything is smooth, and difficulty must mean you took the wrong path. But look at almost anything that grows, not the pretty version, the real version. A seed doesn't become a tree because the soil is comfortable. It becomes a tree because something in it is pushed, cracked, stretched, and forced to reach. You are not different from that. Growth needs pressure, not punishment. Pressure. There's a difference. Punishment says, you deserve pain. Pressure says, there is more inside you than your current shape can hold. And when life brings you situations that disturb your comfort, it's very easy to think life is against you. But sometimes the thing disturbing your comfort is also disturbing your sleep. Imagine someone living in a small, dim room for years. At first they hate the room, but after a while, they get used to it. They know where the chair is. They know which wall has the crack. They know how to move around without bumping into anything. Then one day, someone opens the curtains. Light floods in, and the person screams because it hurts their eyes. To them, the light feels like an attack, but the light isn't attacking them. It's revealing the room. That's what suffering often does. It reveals the room you've been living in, the patterns, the attachments, the desperate need to be chosen, the habit of measuring yourself through other people's reactions, the way your mind can take one difficult moment and turn it into a whole identity. Nobody loves me. Nothing works for me. I'm always behind. My life is harder than everyone else's. One situation happens, and suddenly the mind becomes a dramatic narrator with a microphone. The problem is not always the situation. Sometimes the situation is painful, yes. Some things genuinely hurt. Loss hurts. Rejection hurts. Being misunderstood hurts. Watching life move differently than you hoped hurts. Nobody spiritual needs to pretend it doesn't. But suffering becomes heavier when the mind starts adding commentary on top of pain. Pain says, "This is happening." Suffering says, "This should not be happening, and because it is, my life is ruined." That difference matters, because pain may pass through you like weather, but the story can become a house. You can move into it, decorate it, defend it, start introducing yourself through it. And before long, you're not just experiencing sadness. You're becoming the one who never gets happiness. You're not just having a difficult season, you're becoming the person life forgot. That's how the mind creates a self out of wounds. But the moment you see this, something begins to loosen. Not all at once, not like a movie scene where the sky opens and everything becomes easy. More like a knot, slowly realizing it doesn't have to stay tight. You begin to notice the voice in your head instead of being swallowed by it. You begin to feel the emotion without becoming the emotion. You begin to understand that a hard moment is not an announcement from the universe that you are doomed. Modern life has made pretending incredibly normal. People don't just live anymore. They curate. They choose the best angle, the best lighting, the best sentence, the 1 second where the room looked clean, the one laugh that looked effortless. And none of this makes people evil. It just makes people human. Everyone wants to be seen in a way that feels safe. Everyone wants the world to think they're doing okay, even when they're privately holding themselves together with a string. So when you scroll through other people's lives, remember what you're actually looking at. You're looking at edited evidence. You're seeing the smile, not the argument before the photo. The outfit, not the insecurity underneath it. The relationship post, not the quiet resentment they don't know how to say out loud. The success announcement, not the panic that came after getting what they thought would finally make them feel enough. And yes, some people are genuinely happy. Some are at peace. Some are living beautiful chapters. That's real too. The point is not to become cynical and say, everyone is fake. That becomes another trap, a bitter one. The deeper truth is softer than that. You simply don't know the whole story. You're comparing your raw footage to someone else's trailer. Their trailer may be beautiful, but it is still not the whole film. Your mind forgets this because it's hungry for reasons. When you feel unhappy, the mind searches for an explanation, and comparison gives it one quickly. You feel bad because you don't have what they have. Simple, painful, addictive, but not always true. Sometimes you feel bad because you're disconnected from yourself. Sometimes you feel bad because you've been living for approval. Sometimes you feel bad because you've ignored your inner life for so long that your soul had to become loud through discomfort. There's a kind of sadness that doesn't come from missing out. It comes from being absent from your own life. You can have the phone in your hand, hundreds of people available to watch, endless windows into other worlds, and still feel strangely homeless inside yourself, because attention is energy. Wherever your attention goes, your life starts bending toward it. Keep staring at everyone else's joy, and your own inner garden becomes neglected. Not because you're weak, because whatever you feed grows. If you feed comparison, it grows teeth. If you feed resentment, it starts sounding wise. If you feed presence, even for a few moments a day, something calmer starts returning. You don't need to delete the whole world and move to a mountain, but you do need to stop letting other people's images become the judge of your existence. A powerful shift happens when you stop asking, "Why is life not making me happy?" and start asking, "What is life trying to make conscious in me?" Same situation, different eyes, and different eyes can change the entire world. The difficult person becomes a mirror, the delay becomes a teacher, the loss becomes an opening, the insecurity becomes a doorway into a part of you that has been asking for care, not criticism. This doesn't mean you romanticize suffering. Please don't. Pain doesn't need to be decorated with spiritual language to be valid. Some things are hard because they're hard. Some seasons are heavy because they're heavy. But even inside difficulty, there can be a hidden invitation, not a cute little lesson with a bow on top. More like a quiet hand on your shoulder saying, "Look deeper. Don't fall asleep here. Don't become the wound. Don't let this turn you against yourself." Maybe the people who seem happier than you are not your enemies. Maybe they're not even the point. Maybe they're just mirrors revealing where you still believe peace must come from outside, where you still think being chosen will heal your abandonment, where you still think beauty will heal your shame, where you still think success will heal your worthlessness, where you still think being admired will finally make you feel real. But what if nothing outside you can complete the part of you that was never actually missing? What if the ache you feel while watching others is not proof that they have more life than you, but proof that you've been looking away from your own? That's uncomfortable, sure, but it's also freeing, because if the world is responsible for your happiness, you are trapped. You have to wait for people, luck, timing, approval, money, beauty, and perfect circumstances to finally line up and give you permission to breathe. Presence gives you another way. It says, "Come back now." Not when everything is fixed, not when you look better, not when your life becomes impressive. Now, in the middle of the unfinished room, in the body you criticize, in the season you don't understand, in the silence after disappointment. Come back to the simple fact that you are here, breathing, aware, alive. There is a light in you that does not need applause to exist. And when you begin to live from that place, life doesn't instantly become perfect, but it becomes less hostile. Challenges still come, but they don't turn you into someone you can't recognize. You still feel things, deeply sometimes, but you don't drown in every wave. Someone else's happiness doesn't feel like an accusation anymore. Their joy can just be their joy. Their beauty can just be their beauty. Their timing can just be their timing. It doesn't have to mean anything about your worth.